I declare that I am a candidate for President of the United States, and I am running for you, no matter how tough the fight, no matter how big the challenge. And that is the urgent calling for us today, to rebuild the American dream now in our time.
So tonight, I have to tell you that I am suspending this presidential bid, but I am not ending this fight.
Indeed, he is not ending this fight to rebuild the American dream. We welcome back to square off a regular former Governor Martin O'Malley, presidential candidate, mayor, and so forth, the 61st governor of Maryland, his first TV appearance locally since you got out of it. You guys have traveled an awful lot.
Yeah, we sure have.
Since you last appeared here with Katie in January 2015. Where you been?
Oh, I've been everywhere, man. It's like the Johnny Cash song. Although most of those places have been all throughout Iowa. It was quite an experience. I'll tell you, Richard, there's a lot of goodness in our country, but there's also a whole lot of frustration. I'm glad that I tried. I couldn't not try, given what I sensed was coming over the horizon. And I'm looking forward to the fall, and I'll be doing everything I can for our party's nominee. But our country's one of the recurring questions I've received at the end of that campaign over and over again was from citizens was, how are you going to bring this country together again? And that's the great question that we face. We're pretty polarized people, and we need to realize that there's a lot more that unites us than divides us, and we need to get our country going again.
I know you have a great new job, which we're going to tell our viewers about in just a little while, but what did you take away from that presidential campaign? We thought you did great on the debates.
Thank you.
No, wait a second.
You're biased. It's a hometown thing.
You're a nice-looking guy. You've got a beautiful family, and you're intelligent, and you have your background of history is second to no one's that I know. What the heck happened, Martin?
I gave it my very best. You know, candidates offer and the people decide. The best sense I can make of this year, Richard, is this, that 70% of us are earning the same or less than we were 10 years ago. And that's the first time that's happened since World War II. And there's a sense out there that the game of success has been fixed against us by our own leaders. And when that happens, voting becomes solely an act of protest. And I think that's what we see in the air this year.
Why Trump is popular?
I think you see it among Trump supporters. I think you see it among many of those who responded to Senator Sanders' message. I went to see Al Gore when he spoke here recently at the University of Maryland, and afterwards he said, "What surprised you the most about running for president this year?" And I said, you know, it was not the depth of the anger or even the breadth of the anger, it was the patience of the anger. In other words,
explain that.
In other words, I thought in the course of the campaign that we would move through being angry and mad as hell and not taking it anymore and start to have a more sober discussion about solutions. But people this year wanted to park in the angry lane and throw the keys out the window in many cases, not all, but in many cases. And that surprised me. I thought that we would get more to solutions and prescriptions and how we go about solving our problems and bringing our country together. It was difficult also given the lack of debates in the Democratic Party this year. The fact that...
Why did it happen that way? Because I know you wanted more and more, and they wanted fewer and fewer.
Yeah, every challenger wants more and more, I suppose. And the rules are never designed in a way to help the challenger. But the Democratic Party decided not to debate all through the summer. We never did have, while I was there anyway, we never did have a debate on prime time. They would schedule the debates behind, you know, Frosty the Snowman or the Christmas holiday shopping weekend and things like that. Look, there are things in this you can control, there are things you can't. A good friend of mine said, Martin, just because you have the guts to put your boat in the river doesn't mean you control the flow of the river. And that's, every campaign's like that, Richard. Whether it's a challenger's campaign or whether you're the presumed front runner in a campaign, you never know, which is why, you know, which is why we hold the elections.
Those
right?
debates never got to substance. And you used to always say that. It was always personal. It was always, it never got to the issues. And when, in fact, one of your sound bites, which I listened to preparing for the show, you say, my goodness, we're finally talking about an issue, you know.
They should tell the public, as they told us beforehand. The public never was told this, but they would tell us, look, Secretary Clinton's going to get 50% of the questions. Senator Sanders is going to get 40%. And you're going to get 10% of the questions.
And when they said that, what did you think in your mind? I can imagine what you thought.
I said, there's 3 too many candidates to have competing. And they said, if you want to be heard, you're going to have to jump in on one of their questions. And implicitly,
they told you that?
Yes. Yeah. So that's the, that's the rules such as they are. I will say this, unlike those sorts of formats where they try to shake you up like ants in a jar and get you to attack each other, the public seemed to very much like the Rachel Maddow sort of one-on-one formats where each of us got an equal 20 minutes with an intelligent reporter, in this case Rachel, rather than you.
Well.
But might have been you.
Could have been.
And people seem to like that a lot better than these debates, which became a little silly in the end.
All right, we're delighted to have you back.
Hey,
on
good to be
Square
back.
Always
good to be home.
It is great to have you home. Want to remind our viewers, we're brought to you by the law offices of Peter Angelos, and for your serious legal issues, call Peter Angelos right away. Pick up your phone and dial 1-800-556-5522. The law offices of Peter Angelos. You'll be glad you did. And when we return, Martin O'Malley says it's time for change in our American cities, and especially in Baltimore. We'll be back in a moment.
We are a nation of immigrants. We are made stronger by immigrants. I am for a generous, compassionate America that says we're all in this together.